Okay, we're live. What are we calling this? Fireside chats with Dr. Mike Connolly. no, actually, it's a perfect day for a fire because it's almost the end of May and it's 45 degrees. So ridiculously cold in New Jersey right now. Um, all of us love to get praise. None of us are excluded here. And we just got a great testimonial on one of our premium supplements, Joint Formula Plus. I thought I would read the testimonial and then we could just discuss some of the ins and outs of what this testimonial means, why our supplements are so special, some of the research behind it, just have a neat discussion on it. So I've been going to see Dr. Noah since August 2019 for adjustments to help me through knee pain. I took the Beyond Your Wildest Genes Joint Formula Plus supplement from August 2019 through April 1st, 2020 to see if it would lessen the discomfort and pain in my knees, and I felt it did help. I stopped on April 1st only because I ran out and I was out of state. Within 8 to 10 days of stopping the supplement, my knee pain started up again. No two ways about it. In my experience, this joint formula makes a difference. I'm glad to be taking them again.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a common story, isn't it? Like I get that a lot too. And, I think especially interesting when people have taken glucosamine before and didn't have results. So it's like, well, just try this because the combination of other things that are in it, I think it's obviously a different product and not all products are equal. So, this is a different product. Try this, give it again, the 90-day minimum window for glucosamine. You need to take it for 90 days for it to have its best effect. So people who try it for a week and they're like, I didn't notice any different. Well, that's because it doesn't work that quickly. It's a building block. But the other stuff that's in with the glucosamine really ramps up the effectiveness. There's no doubt about it.
It is absolutely an upgraded product. And that comes from the other ingredients in it and the fact that it's not sitting on a shelf in a warehouse for 6 months. It's not subject to 120-degree heat in a warehouse. So it is an upgraded product and we're really happy with it. And to piggyback on that testimonial, after being released from the hospital, what I noticed was now I'm in the sixth week of being out of the hospital. Noah and I were talking about this on Tuesday, and I don't know if it's because I'm sitting a lot more than I'm used to in 23 years of practice. We as chiropractors don't do a lot of sitting. Especially for our day job as chiropractors. But I've noticed that I was sitting a lot. And the other thing was I had tremendous joint pain that I'd never had before. I had bilateral hip pain. I also, I think from walking the dog, and he's a puller, and we're working on that. I had shoulder pain, and I have not had shoulder pain since I went paleo 12 years ago. I started taking joint formula in combination with turmeric boost, and within days, that pain and that soreness and that achiness went away. And I was waking up with achiness again, which I haven't experienced in years. So for me, it was pretty immediate. But in talking to our patients and clients, we tell them you really got to give this a little bit of time. But it was very powerful combining both of those for me.
For sure, that really gives the 1-2 punch on the inflammation side of it.
Right.
Turmeric, obviously, key anti-inflammatory, but in the Joint Formula Plus, we've added things like vitamin C and grapeseed extract, and bromelain, which are all anti-inflammatory as well. Because if you're going to rebuild the joint cartilage, you've got to get the swelling down too.
Right.
You can't rebuild while the fire is raging. You've got to put the fire down and also rebuild.
I think the secret sauce and what sets it apart, and it's shown in the research articles that glucosamine in combination with MSM, which is a sulfur compound, um, is really the key. The research shows that people get much better results. Chondroitin is another possible joint supplement, but the research just doesn't back it when you combine the glucosamine with the MSM. So it's really that combination.
Chondroitin is so much more expensive,
Right.
for no additional benefit if you can combine the other two together. And that's how we keep the prices to a point where it's way more affordable than a lot of other joint formulas on the market, or glucosamine chondroitin formulas on the market. Chondroitin is incredibly pricey as an ingredient, and if it's not adding any value, why will we pay for it?
Absolutely.
I think the problem with chondroitin is I think it's a rather large molecule that's hard to be utilized by the body. So the other thing that I think about, this patient is a senior. Mike, it's fair to say, is middle-aged. And I use this continue to this day with my son, who's only 15. He was having a really stellar freshman cross-country season, had an injury mid-season, and we needed to get him back as soon as possible. And we, put him on joint formula. And to this day, he still takes a lower level dose of one joint formula every single day. So whether you're 15, 45, 50, or 70, there's no real age issue with this supplement. Back 10, 20 years ago, when those supplements first hit the market, they were really heavily marketed to adults and seniors and people with bone issues and arthritis. But that's not the case anymore. This is a supplement that's perfect for everyone, whether you're a student athlete or whether you're a senior with joint pain for the last 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, for sure. And then usually the other question I get is who can't take it, because that's a good question for people to ask. You should always ask who should or shouldn't take it. The people who shouldn't take this one are people with shellfish allergies, because we do have some of that glucosamine MSM comes from a shellfish product, and pineapple allergies. Bromelain is a pineapple-derived enzyme. And so it aids in digestion. It is also a heavy-duty anti-inflammatory assist. But it comes from pineapple. So if you're allergic to pineapple or shellfish, this one's not for you.
Right.
But that opens up the door for just about everybody. Yeah. Just about everybody. And I think that's such an important point. Well, first for the people not to take it, but secondly, with athletes focusing in on one sport now, more playing soccer year round, like Dr. Mike's daughter, or any sport. It's a different type of toll on our joints than we've ever seen developing as a culture and a society. And we're going to need more support. On top of that, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago, we ate the glucosamine through joints and the little gnarly bits on the steak, where society-wise we don't eat those things anymore. Bone broth was a staple. Eating the whole bone, breaking the bone open and eating the marrow, that was all kind of normal for the human race. But now we just want the steak or the muscle meat, and we're not eating those gnarly bits, and we're not making the bone broth, even though bone broth over the last 12 years, 15 years has exploded. We're not doing that. So we also see a situation where for the last X amount of years, those things are not in our diet anymore, and it's definitely affecting our joints. Mike, we talk about this all the time. We see ACL tears and all these kind of things in these pictures that didn't really exist 30 or 40 years ago. All these different types of injuries, rotator cuff, Tommy John. And it's because of the overuse, and not the proper nutrition to rebuild those joints in the right way. And we encourage bone broth. We encourage eating all those little gnarly bits, but we also encourage, particularly for those who are playing one sport year round or are doing 3 sports very aggressively, to support their joints with a formula like our Joint Formula Plus.
Because it's joints, tendons, ligaments, all of those cartilaginous kind of structures are what it is. So it's really not just the arthritic joint. And that's a really good point. If you regularly lift weights, if you regularly play sport, if you regularly do, a lot of yoga where you're using your shoulders and doing a lot of balances, you're constantly straining those same tendons and ligaments. If they are dried out and vulnerable, that's when you're going to end up with an injury. If you can keep them supple and healthy and strong, you can keep going. Why wait for the arthritis to kick in?
Right.
Exactly. So, you guys, this supplement is easily accessible. If you happen to be around our office, Bayonne, you can pick it up. We always have it there. But it's readily available, www.beyondyourwildestgenes.com. The nutrition tab is right on top. Click it. You can order. We ship anywhere in the United States for sure. It's a really reasonably priced supplement compared to some of the other joint formulas out there. And it's got the research backing it as an extremely effective combination as well. Any other thoughts, guys?
Yep.
All right. Well, be awesome and never unawesome, and get out there and get some sun and activity and check out Joint Formula Plus.
Bye, guys.
Bye.